Good afternoon, everyone, and well done for making it through another week of homeschooling. It's Friday, and if you're in Jade class today, you might sing the Friday song. I'll be singing it a bit later on. Hopefully you'll join in. But hopefully you've had a good celebration. You've given yourself a pat on the back for all the hard work you've done this week. Some of you might have given yourself a certificate for the thing you've done the best. I hope you've had some golden time. I've definitely had some golden time today. And now it's time for a story before we finish off the week. So here's chapter 2 of Operation Gadgetman, and this is called Gadgetman Goes Missing. Ooh, I'm dying to see what's in it. Anne fiddled with the clasps on her briefcase. I would have opened it in the street, but no, my luck, everything in it would have decorated the pavement 2 seconds afterwards. Assembly had finished, but Mr. Lark hadn't yet appeared to take the class for double geography. Louisa already had her briefcase on her desk, about to open it. Look, everyone, look what Beans' dad gave us, Anne preened. Dead Brill Sky Kits. Oh, it's not Sky, Spy Kits. There was a huge crowd around them in seconds. Beans was almost trampled underfoot in the rush. Beans calls her dad Gadgetman. That's his job. He invents things, gadgets, Louisa explained, and he gave us these. Snap, 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 snap! The clasps on the black plastic briefcases sprung open. Ooh, look at that! Wow! Even though Beans knew what was in the briefcases, she was still excited. Dad would have loved this reaction. She stood up on a chair to peer over everyone else's heads. There's an instruction book here. Anne picked up the manual on top of everything else in the briefcase and turned a couple of pages. She began to read. Gadgetman Spy Kit Contents List. Special 2-way pencil. Torch. Batteries not included. Mirror. Tweezers. Magnifying glass. Notepad. Evidence bags. Black and white fingerprint powder. Fingerprint brush. Top secret folder. Did your dad really make all that? Stephen turned round to ask Beans. Beans nodded, her face growing more and more warm. Dad had the idea and he wrote the instruction book. That has things in it like secret codes, masks and disguises, following suspects, the proper way to take fingerprints and all kinds of other stuff. Then Dad sent his idea to a toy company and they put the whole lot together. What's a special 2-way pencil? Jessica asked. Half of it is a normal graphite pencil, Beans explained. The other half has got specially treated wax down the middle. When you write with the wax end, it doesn't show up until you do special things to it. It's all in the instruction book. And are all the spy kits the same? Asked Stephen. Beans nodded. Could I have one? Stephen asked eagerly. And me? Me too. Well, I don't know if Dad's got any more, Beans said quickly. No way did she want the whole class camping out in her front garden. Mr. Conran said the kits are going to be on sale at the end of this month, Louisa called out over the noise of everyone in the class asking Bean for a spy kit. What's going on in here? Mr. Lark's voice boomed out from behind everyone, making them all jump. Beatrice Conran, what are you doing standing on the chair? Would you stand on your chairs at home? He asked. Beans opened her mouth to say that she often did, but Mr. Lark got in first. No, of course you wouldn't, he said, answering his own question. By this time, everyone else had darted back to their own desks. Louisa, Anne, come to the front of the class and bring those cases with you, Mr. Lark ordered. He pulled his glasses down to the end of his nose, the better to scrutinise everyone. Beans couldn't be sure which glinted more, his piggy eyes or his snooker ball bald patch, which went from the top of his forehead practically all the way back to his nape. She hated geography. It's a spy kit, sir, Louisa explained. Don't be facetious, child, Mr. Lark snapped. I love the word facetious, I'll tell you why at the end. When he saw what was in the cases, Mr. Lark said, Right then, these are confiscated until the end of school, and you two will stay behind in detention for an hour this afternoon and write me an essay entitled Why I Was Unwise to Bring My Toys to School. Oh, but sir, Anne began. No buts, Mr. Lark raised a hand, or you can both stay behind on Monday afternoon as well. Anne shut up. Oh, but sir, it's Friday, Beans protested on her friend's behalf. We all had things planned. Then you'll have to unplan them, won't you? Mr. Lark retorted. And as you're so concerned about your friends, Beatrice Conran, you can stay behind with them this afternoon. Your essay will be entitled, Why I Should Not Stand on School Chairs. Beans's mouth fell open. I thought you'd appreciate that. Mr. Lark's eyes held a satisfied gleam. We should have just ambled to school and be done with it, Beans muttered under her breath. We always end up with detention anyway. Did you say something, Beatrice? Mr. Lark's eyes narrowed. No, sir, nothing, Beans replied quickly. Are you sure? Positive, sir, Beans said innocently. Good, because I have plenty of other essay titles in my head, you know. I don't doubt it, Beans thought sourly, but wisely she said nothing. Beans, Louisa and Anne walked up the steep hill that led to Beans's house. It was late afternoon. A few cotton wool clouds were dotted about the sky. Beans wiped her forehead. She'd have a shower later if she was still this hot and sticky. She glanced across the street. A bearded man wearing sunglasses sat behind the wheel of a navy blue Ford Escort. There was someone beside him, but that person was bending down, picking up something off the floor. Beans couldn't be sure if the person in the passenger seat was a man or a woman. She wouldn't have noticed the driver at all, except that he was drumming his fingers on the steering wheel and looking directly at her. Beans wondered what the man was doing there. She knew the Escort didn't belong to any of the neighbours. I wonder who he's waiting for, Beans said to her friends. Who? Anne asked. Him! Beans turned to point at the Escort. The driver was looking straight ahead now. Who cares? Anne said. Beans, you're dead nosy. Beans smiled. Anne was right. They reached Beans's house and walked up the path to her front door. Beans, I can only stay for an hour at the most, Louisa said. Me too, said Anne. Beans sighed and nodded as they opened her front door. It was all Mr. Lark's fault. Her friends would only have time for a quick snack. Beans hoped Dad hadn't gone to too much trouble. Gadgetman, we're here, she yelled the moment she stepped over the doormat. Her dad liked it when Beans called him Gadgetman. He said it made him feel like a superhero. There was no answer. Gadgetman, where are you? Beans shouted. Still no answer. He must be in his workroom. Come on, let's go round the side of the house and surprise him, Beans suggested. She led the way out of the front door, through the side gate and down the path. The workroom was really a large shed, as tall as it was broad. Once it had been a magnificent solid structure. These days, although it was still solidly patched, years of explosions and experiments gone wrong had taken their toll. And now there was a huge hole in the roof where there had been none the day before. From the looks of it, the door had taken quite a bashing too. So much for her dad's new gadget. Beans pushed at the door, which was hanging half off its hinges. They all stepped into the workroom. Oh no! Call the police! You've been burgled, Louisa exclaimed. Beans frowned at her, then at Dad's workroom, then back at Louisa. It always looks like that, she said, annoyed. Louise mumbled a small, oh. Cheek, Beans grinned. It's not that bad. In fact, if anything, Dad's blowing it up that morning had made it neater. The workroom was still, almost eerie in its stillness, with wires and cables and printed circuit boards and light bulbs and switches and batteries and a host of other electronic gadgetry scattered everywhere. That's strange, Beans mused. It usually takes a crowbar to get Dad out of here. I wonder where he is. Back in the house, Beans called for her dad again. There was no answer. They all ambled into the kitchen. Surprisingly, there was no food laid out on the work surface waiting for them. No sandwiches, no plates of biscuits, no bowls of crisps and peanuts. Nothing in the oven. Nothing cooking on the hob. Beans's dad was famous for his yumptious dinners. Excuse me, children. Instead of food, there was an envelope. The envelope had Beatrice written on it in her dad's squirrely-whirly handwriting. Instantly, Beans knew that something was wrong. Her dad never, ever called her Beatrice. It was always Beans. Beans was sure her dad had actually forgotten her real name. She picked up the envelope and frowned down at it. "What's wrong?" Anne asked, noticing her friend's expression. Beans didn't reply. She tore open the envelope, a deep frown turning down the corners of her mouth. Inside was a single sheet of plain white paper. Beans began to read. "Dear Beatrice, I don't want you to worry or read anything into this letter, but egghead that I am, and a dolt as well, I clean forgot to tell you, Beatrice, that I need some extra components which I can only get from out of town. You mustn't worry. I'll be home in a day or so, although it might take an extra bit of time for your soft-boiled egghead father to find the components he needs. The fridge is well stocked, so help yourself. As if I need to let you know you can. I'll see you in the near future, possibly on Sunday. Phone your gran to come and stay with you until I get back. All my love, Dad. P.S. We need some eggs. You might buy me some sausages as well." "Does your dad often go away by himself for days at a time?" Louisa asked, surprised. Bean shook her head. "No, never," she replied, shocked. "Doesn't your dad write dead funny?" Anne said from over Bean's shoulder. "There are capital letters in the middle of sentences, and he started sentences with small letters, something in year 3 we would never do. Have a look at that letter, can you see? There's capital letters all over the place where they shouldn't be. And not where they should be." I've got the wrong page, so he's written that all funny. "There are capital letters in the middle of sentences, and he started sentences with small letters. Miss Brace, our English teacher, would have a fit if she saw that. Dad has never written me a letter like this one before, and he doesn't even like sausages," Beans frowned, "and he never calls me Beatrice. There's something going on here." "What?" said Anne, surprised. "That's just it," Beans said. "I don't know, but something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong." We'll find out on Monday what happens next. I wonder if you can think what the girls might do next. Let's see if you're right. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. I know we can't do very much at the moment, but it's quite exciting using our imaginations, isn't it, to make some fun. So I hope you manage to have some fun this weekend. Have some rest from doing your schoolwork, a bit of downtime, and I will see you again on Monday. Remember, you're very precious. Remember to look out the window, get outside, listen to the birds singing, and that will remind us that one day all this will be over. Things will come right again soon. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.